Joining me in the conversation today, senior hunger. What is it? Where is it? Who is it? It's Dr. Joyce J. Dorsey, who is the CEO of the Fulton Atlanta Community Action Authority, we call FACA.
Yes.
Dr. Dorsey earned a bachelor's degree from Spelman College and a master's degree in social work from Atlanta University. She earned a doctoral degree in biblical studies from the University of North Carolina College of Theology. Welcome, Joyce.
And thank you for having me.
And
I
thank you,
appreciate you
thank you,
yes,
Joyce.
Yes, we
to
are
you
colleagues
and your staff.
Yes, I appreciate it.
One of our oldest partners
That's
in
right.
terms of service.
Yes.
Obviously not age.
No, not far behind.
Yes, FACA has been a
Yes.
close partner with this county for many years.
Yes, we have.
And we are just so happy to have you here, Joyce.
Thank you.
To help us understand some disturbing
It's disturbing.
information
Yes.
that has come out about seniors
My.
in the nation
Yes.
and in this community.
My goodness.
You know, we pride ourselves here in Atlanta as being in Fulton County.
Yes.
It's one of the most popular locations for seniors, you know, nationally.
One would think.
Yeah, we rank number 7.
Yes.
You know, and many people, you know, believe that this is just nirvana
Oh, yeah.
for seniors.
Yeah.
You know. They see our beautiful
It
facilities.
has its advantages.
And they see,
Yes.
you know, the mother's board on Sunday morning looking
Right.
good.
Right.
And they say, hey, this is a great place.
Good life.
But y'all on the front lines, y'all know
Yes,
a
we
little,
are.
you know a little something more
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
This study said, Joyce, and it was done by the Meals on Wheels Foundation. They said that between 2009, the official end of the recession,
Yes.
and 2010, we had a significant increase in the number of seniors, persons over the age of 60,
Yes.
who are under the threat of hunger
Yes.
throughout this country.
Yes.
And of course, we'll get to where right quick, you know, of the top 10 states.
Oh, my.
Georgia's
The
number
revelation.
7.
My goodness.
Thank God for Mississippi because they're always number 1.
My goodness.
But,
It's
you know,
disheartening.
we knew that the recession is putting a strain on everybody.
Yes, it is.
But an increase, 1 in 7, they say, seniors.
it's a
That's
shame.
8.3
That's frightening.
million seniors in
Yes.
this nation
Yes.
are under the threat of hunger.
I'm telling you.
They're not just have 401ks and,
Right.
and down in Florida on the beach. They're
No,
hungry.
That's right.
And Joyce, I wanted to have FACA to come in to help us understand it's not just outside Fulton County.
No. It's,
What are
it's
you
right
seeing,
under our
Joyce?
noses.
Yes.
People who are walking about proudly are hiding hunger. They're hiding poverty.
They won't tell you.
No, and many of the ones that are hiding it never thought that they would have to endure it. Because we, even the baby boomers, came along at a time when the doors were opening. Whether we were white or black, we thought we had it made. And then all of a sudden, the bottom dropped out of our bank accounts. The bottom dropped with respect to jobs. And the seniors who were retiring with less because the cost of living went up. The price of food went up. The cost of things and commodities went up. And they are not able to survive off of the income that they worked hard to achieve. Property taxes, water bills, electric bills, and paying into an electrical system that they may not ever experience. It's frightening.
Well, you know, Joyce, I guess this explains a question that we have here as policymakers.
Yes.
We notice that when it comes to our senior centers that are located in the central city,
Yes.
where we have the traditional groups who have problems with hunger,
Right.
you know, low-income
Right.
seniors, we notice that the number of meals that we're actually serving in the centers and that we're actually delivering
Yes.
are less than
Yes.
they were in 2009
Of
in the
course.
central city.
Of course.
But when we move to the suburban
Yes.
centers,
My goodness.
we notice that the requests
It's an increase.
are up.
Yes.
These are not the poor
No.
seniors. And what you're saying is sort of explaining that.
Yes.
It's not income
No.
that's the major determinant now.
No, it's the cost of the resources that one must have to survive.
And doesn't it also have something to do with the fact that while their costs are going up,
Right.
the resources that you have?
Yes, so they're depleting.
Tell us
Now,
about that, Joe.
Yeah, let's talk about the energy program that you and I and
That
many
light
people who are
so
looking
vital.
at us. Yes, they're
Yes.
familiar with that, and it becomes a
Yes.
concrete example.
Yes.
Last year, the last season, which was in November and December of 2011,
Yes.
we normally would serve around 2,500 seniors. Well, this time it doubled. And we ran
Doubled?
out before even the ones that exceeded that doubling amount could get to the door. So mayhem, of course, evolved.
We saw that.
Because people who were on the next tier, that is, people who were younger, could not get anything because the monies were completely gone. This required congressional advocacy and action. And even that money was absorbed rather quickly this time. People just don't have what it takes. And you know, the monies that are dispersed don't cover the bills that people are accruing.
Tell us about Light Heap for those who don't know what that's about.
This is your energy assistance program.
The light bill.
Yes, your light bill, your whatever is your
Furnaces.
supply
Yeah,
for
heat.
heat. Even wood. We find that people are now recoursing to their fireplaces because they can buy wood a little bit cheaper than paying the gas bill. But guess what? Your gas is off, you still get a bill because you have pipes leading to your house. And this is the catch-22 that many seniors who are still living in their homes are experiencing. Mm-hmm. And that kind of catch-all is causing us to be ineffective in the delivery of services.
So maybe it was a mistake for policymakers to assume that the only groups that would need assistance in this area would be your traditional low-income
Families.
families.
Right.
I don't think
Yes.
I'll assume responsibility.
Yes.
I don't think we took into consideration the devastating effect of the
Right.
recession on those who are above
Yes.
the poverty line. That's what
right.
you're seeing with
That's
Light Heap,
right.
aren't you?
Yes, and of course with the job market going
job
so
market.
erratically
Yes.
crazy, people are not able to find replacement income. So they're falling into the poverty realm. And many of us who are baby boomers never thought that would happen to us. Many of us are being retired early because we have had tenure, even though we're not ready to retire, because the monies that we have put up is not going to last very long.
This is very helpful, Joyce, because one of the things I did not understand in the report is why the majority of the seniors who experienced the greatest increase in hunger
Right.
were not inner city seniors.
That's true. That's true.
And
The
what I hear
suburbs.
you saying now is because they didn't anticipate.
No,
I guess the low income senior was already at the bottom.
that's so true.
They were
Well,
all,
that's right. Look at the
Yes.
foreclosure and parallel that picture
I see.
with hunger.
yes.
If you can't meet your household expenses, that is a signal of
That's a
what's
part
going
of
on
it,
in the
isn't it?
employment realm.
Yes.
And then, of course, if you're not able to make all of the ends meet, some meal has to be missed. You're not able to buy steaks anymore. You're not even able to buy potatoes because everything has gone up in the marketplace.
Well, I think the average person looking at these numbers would say, we don't understand how a person whose income is above the poverty line
Yes.
would be experiencing a threat of hunger greater than that of a senior who lives in the central city.
Yes.
And
You're
what I
speaking
hear you
of
say,
appearances.
and
Yeah.
they
But
didn't
we
prepare.
appear, we're still wearing our nice clothes because they haven't worn out yet. We haven't become homeless yet, but there are many people on the brink of it because as foreclosure becomes more threatening and the options play out, where do these people go?
We're going to come back with that, Joyce. I've got to take a break right
Yes.
now. That's what we've got to talk about.
Phew.
We'll be back in a moment. So you were saying, Dr. Dorsey, that it's probably misleading to look at how people are dressed.
Oh, yeah.
And how they might be smiling.
Yes.
If we want to understand hunger
Yes.
in this community, particularly among the younger senior
That's right.
who has been forced to retire
Yes.
before time,
Yes.
I guess we have to watch these stereotypes anyway about senior adults, don't we?
Yes, you know, we are a visual society.
Yes.
And many people wear the mask of pride.
Particularly in
Well, we've been taught
the
that.
African American
This is America.
community.
You know, we are
yes.
prosperous. We're not supposed to be poor. The poor are looked down on. But your retirement income qualifies you many times for the poverty level.
Yes.
And many people don't want to seek services in traditional organizations like the Fulton Atlanta Community Action Authority, because what happens is you are looked at differently. So then, regardless of race, one has to disguise that. And what we do now is we make sure that we have sessions for the working poor or people who are seeking jobs. That puts a little bit more palatable amenity to seeking services.
You see that in your day-to-day work,
Oh,
don't
yes.
you?
Oh, yes. And we have to assuage the ego. And I have to imagine this being me. What would I want to do?
That's always a good idea.
How would I
Put
want
yourself
to be
in that
treated?
person's shoes.
That's
yes.
right. And how would I want to be regarded?
Yes.
Having had a professional experience. And this is what these seniors see. When I talk to seniors, they remind me that they were school teachers, librarians, and that they were administrative assistants, and I knew your father, or I worked in this community, or I once worked with EOA.
Yes.
And I had an attachment to the community.
Yes.
And I'm just so, and tears flow. Because this feels like a reduction of self.
We're talking about something more than food, aren't we?
Oh, yes. We're talking
We're
about,
talking about self-respect.
what happens to the person,
Yes.
to the interior of the human being.
Yes.
And you know that very well. You've addressed
we
it
see
like
it
me.
every day.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that those of us who are public policy makers,
Yes.
we might need to look up from the numbers sometime.
Right. And look at the people.
And
who
look at the
represent them.
people.
Yes.
Because otherwise we'll be sitting here feeling good about the fact that Fulton County has one of the strongest programs for seniors
And
in
it
the
does.
nation.
It does.
And
It
then when we
does.
go underneath and talk to folks
What
from
good does it
VACA
do?
and others,
Yes.
then they tell us you need to go a little deeper.
Yes. Who are we missing and how do we get to them?
That's what we need to be asking ourselves,
Yes.
don't we? I guess it just doesn't make a lot of sense for any government or any agency, public or private, in this field, to conclude that we're doing a great job.
We're doing enough. Look at how many millions we put out. But this problem is not to be counted in terms of dollars. It's in terms of quality of life. What do we do to restore dignity? And how do we adjust whatever corporations are doing? Corporations are making millions in profits. Many of them, and I'm sad to report to you, many of them are our energy providers. So I'm an advocate to them, Public Service Commission and all.
They need to partner with us, don't they?
Look at why are these millions going to you, but there are no breaks. You know, they are qualifying, and the
They're
LIHEAP
monopolists,
program does
many of them.
provide stimulus.
They don't even have competition,
No.
you know. Yet you and I know that folks will spend their last dime to pay that light bill.
Oh, yes, and it's needed. Grandmamas are raising their great-grandchildren. great-grandchildren, 85 years old, raising 2- and 3-year-olds.
Oh, yes, we have a special program. We have so many grandparents raising children.
Yes.
Until we have a special program trying to provide some assistance to them. One of the things that I thought about when you mentioned that was the fact that, you know, Dr. Dorsey, I find that even when the evidence is clear.
Yes.
We did a survey in May.
Right.
The state of Fulton County seniors.
I did see some report on that.
We found that 10%, and this was just an online survey.
Right.
10% of the people said they were skipping meals.
Yes.
In order to make ends meet, and
Young
everybody
and
around
old,
here was
but
shocked.
the old bother me because they're frail sooner enough.
Yes.
So many of them are dehydrated because
It has health impacts.
that's right.
Well, we are very concerned that in our, I think, important effort to meet the responsibilities to all of the people of this county, including those over 60.
Yes.
When it comes to senior adults, I'm afraid we might be getting carried away a little bit with the publicity.
No, because my generation, the baby boomers,
Yes.
we're coming on strong. We are the articulate ones that don't mind shouting. We were the civil rights youngsters who are now
we've heard you
pulling
too.
back on our skills
Yes.
for advocacy.
Yes.
And our advocacy is inclusive. So then we will be speaking for our parents who are still living.
And
We
you
will
are
be
the
speaking
caregivers.
for our children who will
Yes.
come behind us.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
will be saying there has to be a shift. The paradigm needs to be shifted because there is something wrong with how, in spite of this hunger, there are unimaginable profits being made by corporations that supply food, corporations that sell utilities and commodities. There is a reason for all of this, and we've got to look at how do we make the playing field a little more even.
We got to look at that 30%.
Oh, yes.
They talk about 1%, 99%. When it comes to seniors who are
Yes.
hungry in
Yes.
this county.
Right.
We got to look at that 20%.
That's right.
And I think that what the baby boomers are doing, we hear it every day.
Yes.
You know, I think we're going to have to make some adjustments. I
Yes.
think that as policymakers, this old practice of having Thanksgiving dinners
Yes.
once a year, having dances,
Yeah, that's a waste. Let's put it
sending
where
buses
it's
to
needed.
pick up folks
Yeah,
and let
that's
them
a waste.
dance.
Yes.
Baby boomers don't want to hear
No,
that.
no,
When
we
they
don't have
paid-
anything to dance about now. We can dance at home. Let's try to make sure that everybody
You
is
have
full.
iTunes. What's that
The
gadget?
iPods that will help us to dance.
In other words, holding the dance for you.
That's right.
Won't get the job
No,
done. When
no.
you have paid taxes
That's right.
for years
Right.
and expect the government to treat you fairly
Yes.
during this time of
Yes.
stress.
Yes.
This is very, very helpful to us. I cannot gloss over the fact, though, Joyce, that one of the reasons that FACA and other agencies are having difficulty meeting these needs is because government has cut back.
Well, you know, in speaking of food, you know, once upon a time we were in the business of distributing commodity foods,
Yes,
serving
I
at
remember
least
that.
10,000 families in one day.
Yes.
Well, that program ended because that food has been shifted over to the local food banks. But the food
Yes.
banks don't serve individual families.
You need to make that
it
real
sells
clear.
the food, at least through membership,
They're selling
to
to
organizations.
they're distributing to agencies,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yes. So whereas this money this food would come to the organizations free, and it is given out freely, then that change it's harder to get to the food because seniors, as well as parents with children, don't know where
They don't know
exactly
where
to
it
find
is.
it.
They don't know where it is.
And organizations don't have money to purchase this food, not in the
I
bulk
see.
that is needed to serve the people.
So it might not be wise to assume that because we have a community food bank
Yes.
and we support the community food bank, which
Right.
we do,
Right.
that particular strategy will meet the needs of what we're talking about here. These new groups,
Yes.
what we call the new poor.
Right.
You know, although they don't like the word poor.
They don't like the word
nobody.
poor.
Nobody's poor.
That's
if you
true.
just ask
That's
folks who's
true.
poor, nobody.
That's true.
You know, but that strategy of just saying community food bank,
Right.
That's very important information, Dr. Dorsey, because many people don't know where these organizations are that are distributing the food, and they don't have any means of getting there.
Well, I certainly hope that you're posting our number, because I and my executive team stand ready to address. You know, we are already flooded with calls for the case managers, but I'm telling the executive team, we're going to have to bone up and take the calls and talk to the people, because we must become familiar with the aches and pains of hunger.
Without that, Dr. Dorsey, we cannot succeed. I've received a signal that our time is up, but you
Good.
know, you and I, we just
We'll
getting
keep
warmed
this conversation
up.
going in a strategy. We will concoct something.
I'm so glad to hear you say you stand ready to
Yes.
continue
Yes.
this historic partnership with Fulton County.
Yes.
And I want to say to you now, Fulton County stands ready
Thank you.
to work with you and all of our partners like you
Yes.
who are serious.
That's right. Just
about
tell them
the
about
dignity
us. Those that don't know, tell them
and
about
the
us.
quality of life of all people, not
Yes.
just seniors.
That's true.
But all people, irrespective of age and race, who have had some difficulty
Yes.
and who need some assistance.
Well, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
Joyce.
being
You've
on
got
your
to
program.
come back. I got
Yes.
to do a little bit better before I bring you back.
Oh, you are a mighty leader, and I thank you.
I'll be back in a moment with closing thoughts. I'm sorry. We would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the Fulton Atlanta Community Action Authority and to each individual and organization in this community, public and private, for all you are doing to partner with us in our efforts to eradicate senior hunger in Fulton County. Marvin Gaye said, if there ever was a time when we needed each other's strength, if there ever was a time that we needed each other's power and compassion, that time is now. That's all the time we have for today's conversation. We invite you to join us next time. And until then, stay strong. To learn more about today's conversation, contact me at 404-612-8222. You can also email me at emma.darnell@fultoncountyga.gov.